It's crazy. It's been almost 15 years since Batman Arkham City came out. And I think that game came out in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. And out of all the Batman games, the Arkham trilogy between 2009 and 2015, a lot of people go on record and tell you that Arkham City was probably the best game. Um, it may have sold the most. I don't remember. I know it did like somewhere between 12 and 13 million. And I think at one point it had generated like 600 like $1 million, maybe more than that. It was a massive commercial success, and it was back when the Batman video game series was still hot. And I feel like for the most part, like after Arkham Knight from 2015, I feel like a lot of DC related games, they just kind of been massive flops. I mean, I would even say like, Injustice 2 because that game didn't sell like half of what any of the Batman games did back in the day. And and I know I'm not the only one who believes that Batman Arkham City is one of those games that deserves a current generation remake. I'm not talking about a remaster like what we got in the Xbox Series X with the Arkham trilogy. I'm talking about an actual video game that has been remade, like with a completely different game engine. Because I think Arkham City used the Unreal Engine 3. Right now, I think there's certain developers that are using the Unreal Engine 5. So a remake of Batman Arkham City with the Unreal Engine 5 would be pretty cool. And have it for like the PS5, have a PC version of it. Hell, even put it on the Switch too, because I don't think we have any of the Batman games on the Switch 2, and I think the Switch 2 is backwards compatible to some extent, but still, I mean, like, it'd be cool to have a fresh, like, Batman game for the Switch too, because I don't know, Batman doesn't get a ton of exposure on Nintendo platforms at all, and obviously due to the fact that, Nintendo their first party games tend to sell more and there's more spotlight on all that, but I heard that the Switch 2 is supposed to be as powerful as the base PS4, so I think Batman, Arkham City would look good on, the Switch 2 if it got a remake or what have you. But, I mean, at this point, like, with Warner Brothers Entertainment, like, what else could they possibly do DC related that people would give a damn about aside from Injustice 3, which is rumored to be coming out years from now? But, or at least, it's rumored to be in development at the moment. But, you look at the past major DC games that we got, Gotham Knights sucked, and, the Suicide Squad game was just awful and they lost millions of dollars on that. So I guess going back to Batman would make the most sense. It'd be the most logical thing to do at this point. And and I'm pretty sure it would still be a big attraction in this day and age because you look at a lot of other video game companies like Square Enix, they're constantly remaking like older Final Fantasy games to try and make as much money as they can because they know like the more recent stuff is not selling the way that it should. So yeah, I think at this point, like I think going back to some of the older 3D games that we got like during the late 2000s, early teens, and remaking those, I still think those games would still appeal to casuals. It would definitely appeal to a younger generation of gamers in this day and age. And and I don't think, Warner Brothers and, they should only, focus on remaking that game. We should get a remake for, Arkham Asylum and maybe Arkham Knight. And it's crazy to think that, Arkham Knight came out like 10 years ago. And I think Arkham Asylum was back in 2009. So yeah, I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy to think that Arkham Asylum is almost 20 years old. But yeah, man, I feel like when it comes to Batman games, those three particular games is as good as it's going to get. And yeah, I mean, I feel like yeah, PS5 remake would definitely, be a bestseller for that particular game system. I don't think it would sell as much as Marvel Spider-Man 2 or anything like that because it's an older game and whatever, but I still feel like there's money to be made off of that. And yeah, I feel like this is something that should definitely happen. I hope I hope Warner Brothers, actually takes that into consideration in relation to remaking future games, but it's something that's not necessarily promised. And yeah, and honestly, I feel like, the Batman series in general is never going to be as hot as it once was. I don't think any new Batman games is going to capture the magic of what we got back in the early teens. But, it is what it is. But that PS5 remake should definitely happen, though.